Well, it's on the right along, so it's happening here.
Came over here. What does it mean? You know, I grew up in what I guess we call a typical family.
We break all the stories, and that's just a fact. And that's why everyone has a story to tell.
Right Along Live, I mean, yeah, it's the real deal.
Right Along Live. Welcome to the ride. Welcome to what? Monday on the ride. Yeah. Monday on the ride. How you guys doing? Lord have mercy. Good afternoon, you Lois JJ. I see you. Big up yourself. Thanks for joining in early o'clock. Hey, good evening to who else we see here, Jed? Asul, you reach? Listen, as you reach, this is what you have to do, right? As you reach, I want you to share the program to a friend. Yeah, just share the program to a friend. Good evening to you, Elise, Joan Martin. How you doing? Big up yourself. Olia, I am not here for confusion or problems. Don't start the thing. All right. Hey, Selena, how you doing? Big up yourself. Guys, again, welcome to Ride Along Live. And we're in Grenada. And if you guys are hearing a lot of echo, it's because I'm in a new room and it's only me. So the acoustics in here is not at its best, but I hope everybody's hearing me fine. I hope you guys could understand what I'm saying. Good evening to you, Watson, Raquel. Big up yourself. Right, guys. So listen. As you know, it's election season in Grenada. I mean, we've seen countless rallies. We've seen all the rallies. In fact, yesterday was the final big rally, right? Today, police went to the poll to vote. So today, the police officers actually voted, right? They voted early because on election day, they have to be security for the election process. So police voted today. And so the things start. So we would have seen all these different rallies. We would have seen all these speeches, all this election, all this commercial advertising. We've seen everything, almost everything. So this is where everyone come down to make their decision. Now, throughout this process, we've had the NNP coming strong and saying that they are the stronger hands to maintain the whole of power here in Grenada. The NDC, however, is stating that with their youthfulness, they are the ones that should be elected into office to take the country forward. Yeah. So we decided to bring on chat with us right here. He's a very good friend of mine, two very good friends of mine. And one of which you guys know very well. Well, you guys know all of them. But one in particular been on the program, on a debate style program a few years ago, and we're happy to have him back, Mr. Bobby Steele. Bobby, how you doing, my friend? Bobby, are you hearing me? All right. Bobby, are you hearing me? Bobby? Okay, go back out and come back in if you're not hearing me. Yeah, Bobby's gonna pick up his visual. Bobby, go back out and come back in, and that's gonna fix that. All right. In the meantime, she's no stranger to the ride. Janice is here, and Janice is a supporter of the National Democratic Congress. And Bobby would, when he come back, he would state and tell you who is supported. So Janice, welcome to the program. How are you doing, Janice?
Oh, I'm doing fine.
Nice, nice,
I'm
nice.
doing fine.
You look like you're fired. Are you-
Absolutely fine. Fine, 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 fine. I gotta cover it up on election day because I won't be able to go to the polls with those nails, guys. Those of you who have your nails painted like mine in yellow, I was told that actually on the way to Carriacou. One lady had hers painted in yellow as well, and she said to me, "Hey, you have to cover it up." And I was like, "Really?" And
Really?
yeah, so oh yeah, absolutely. You
You
can't have nothing yellow.
gotta take it
Nothing
off.
yellow, nothing green. Hi, everyone. Junior, let me say a special big up to Lydia James. Oh my goodness, my good cousin there. She said that she didn't get the notification. You got to look into that. And I see Akim there, Akim Lewis. He's calling you a liar. He say you're in a room doing the live and talking about welcome to the ride. Big up
Hey,
yourself, Akim.
hey,
Mhm.
yes, we're riding. We're riding. No matter
And
where,
Lydia is saying
right?
that you advertise Jan Jan and not Janice, so she wants Jan Jan. So you answer that one.
Yeah. Well, listen.
Mhm.
You get a Janice. You take the Janice you get. You take the one that you get. All right. I'm waiting for Brian Grimes is waking
Yeah.
up. I thought it was a different Janice. Well, let me tell you guys what happened. We did have supposed to have Jan. Both of them is Janice, and both of them song alike too. But Jan, for some reason, we were unable to get in contact with Jan at this point in time. Nevertheless, we have Janice. So a Janice is a Janice. Eh?
A Janice is a Janice. In fact, I saw the other Janice yesterday
Yeah.
at the pocket meeting in Pedmota, and she had just arrived in Grenada with her son, with her lovely Brandon. And for some reason, she's out of data range for whatever reason, and you couldn't reach her. And last minute, you asked me to come on, so I didn't get a chance to put on my face or anything. But guys, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
We got Bobby coming back in. Bobby, are you hearing us now again? Hold on, Bobby. Hold on, Bobby. Bobby, are you hearing me? No, I'm not hearing you. I'm not hearing you. I don't know what happened there again.
If Bobby doesn't have a headset, he would have to make sure that the volume on his computer or his
It's not his phone. No. It's not his volume. It's not the volume.
oh, okay.
The yeah, if you get a call or anything like that, it would disturb the audio. But listen, guys, we're gonna have a discussion. I promise you, we'll have a discussion as soon as we get Bobby's audio popping and fix up and things like that. We're gonna have a discussion because it's just about 3 days away from the election.
Yeah.
Election is right around the corner. As I was saying earlier, the police voted today. I saw Beast putting up a finger up in the air. So Beast voted today. And all the police officers voted today. All right, let me see. Bobby is back again. Let me start out Bobby. All right, let me try this one. All right, Bobby, you there?
Yeah, I'm hearing you now.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect.
Hey, Bobby, long time.
All right. Bobby, so they say ladies first, so we start with the lady. We talk a little bit. How you doing, Bobby? How you doing? It's been a while since we've seen you on the program.
Yes, it's been a while, but good to be back, man.
Of course.
Very interesting week, huh?
All right, Bobby, what's your take? And before I ask you that question, are you a supporter of the NNP? Is it right to say that Bobby Steele as a supporter of the New National Party? So you'll be speaking kind of from that perspective.
I'm a supporter of Grenada.
Okay.
And if I think that one particular party offers the best for Grenada at a particular time, it does not mean that I have to hold a card for that party or that I have to believe that that party is the only solution for us.
Right. Okay. Good.
That is my answer.
Good. 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 Right. Just for a disclaimer purpose, also, Janice, is it safe to say that you are a supporter of the National Democratic Congress?
100%.
All right. Okay. She even have a little peak of yellow in the back. She you see look at yellow peak. Bobby, you see it? You see it?
Yes, and pick it out.
What's I'm behind me too, you know.
I'm not hearing Janice though, to be honest.
Oh, you're not here?
Me? Because I
No,
said
no.
that to you and you didn't answer. So I say, and me and Bobby better than that.
All right. All right. Okay. So guys, let's get it started. Let's get this conversation started. Bobby, what's your take on the political vibe on the ground in Grenada right now?
Well, do you know what I will say is this? It is great to see the energy. It's
Right.
great to see so many people. I mean, the crowds that are attending these rallies are huge on both sides, which means to me, and I don't think I would put it down as just to say it's people following the entertainers, because at the end of the day, what was the cast for NDC on Sunday, right? What has been the cast for all of the small meetings that NMP has been having that was supposedly small meetings, but yet still are getting very large crowds out to them. So I think it is that people have actually tuned in. A lot more young people seem to be tuned in politically than we've seen in the past. You know, I don't know if the motivation is from one side, they really don't want to see us go back to what we experienced a short 10 years ago. And from the other side is energy in young people coming up. I don't know. I don't know what's driving it, but you're seeing that support out there.
Yes, yes, yes. And we noticed that, as you said, the rally yesterday, it was two massive rally. And I was kicking with a friend of mine, and they were saying, "Why I feel here more than 100,000 people in Grenada." Because
It
was so big, and you look at the shots, you look at the overhead shot, it was so much people there, right? And people are making determination. Does that mean that it would be the same as last election? Because last election and the election before, we saw crowd. So crowd is not probably the best parameter or the best thing to look at to determine votes, and that's on the day of the vote or the day of the election. So Janice, what's your take? What's your take on the election climate in Grenada right now?
Oh, dear me. My take is that it is a very, very exciting election. I remember some years ago when former President of the United States, Obama, came on the scene, and the advent then of social media and how people responded, how social media, I don't have the statistics with me right now because, like I say, my invitation was last minute. I like to do my research. But I feel like similarly, we have seen some warfare. I like to call it warfare on social media. And people have been coming out to the extent where the incumbent literally feels that it is a kind of strategy that the NDC, for example, has put in place and are paying actors to do this and that. Little do they know that the wind of change has been blowing so hard and so strong that people are just motivated and propelled into this fight and are putting themselves in the front line, in the battlefield, without being asked to do so. I mean, I can speak to myself, for myself, and I can speak for many other people who are in this fight and so on social media. I live in the diaspora, and I am grateful that I am here on the ground in Grenada. And when I landed, I literally got a feeling that, oh my God, so much is happening on social media. There's so much excitement, but I landed and everybody was going about their business as usual. People are at their jobs, whatever. And it's only when the rally comes around, you see people out and you see everything happening. So I'm telling you, we cannot discredit what's been happening on social media, all of the soldiers on social media that's been fighting this war. And I'm telling you, it's been a lot of excitement. I'm really, really positive, really optimistic about what's happening here, that wind of change that's blowing in Grenada right now.
Yeah, Bobby, I reckon that you didn't hear her.
I'm not here.
It
Yeah.
is difficult for Bobby to be
All right.
able to
Okay, yeah, yeah,
respond.
yeah.
Hear
We
me.
can't. You have to be able to hear her. So, Bobby, this is what I want you to do, Bobby. Just jump out and come back in, and that's going to fix the problem. I could reassure you that with the same device.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right. Guys, this is a conversation that I want to have because there have been so much said over the time, and it's good that we have someone at least representing the NNP and someone that is going to be speaking on the behalf of the NDC. Bobby's back. Let me see if I can get him back inside. All right, Bobby.
Bobby, you
Janice,
hear me now?
Bobby, you still not hearing her?
No.
Wow, that is crazy. All right. Okay. All right. All right. All right. Let me see how we rectify this. Bobby, I'm going to call you on the phone line, and that's how we're going to have to do it because you need to hear her.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, for sure.
And have a discussion. So, Bobby, I'll call you on the WhatsApp.
And in the meantime, I'll read some of the comments that we have here. Junior, is it okay if I did that?
Yeah, go ahead, Bobby. Bobby, let me call you on the WhatsApp, and then you'll be able to
Yes.
hear it that way. All right?
Okay, no problem. So you need me to read?
Yeah, I'll
So
call you right now. I'll call you right now.
Okay.
special. Yes, yes, yes. I am just gonna entertain you guys with some of the comments. Oh my goodness. Um, okay, someone actually sent me a little message on the phone, and someone that I know from the police force, and they just wanted to make a comment. Junior, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. I'm here. I
Yeah.
just called you, Bobby.
While we're you
Bobby,
hearing
you
me
here?
now? You hearing me now, Bobby? The floor is yours. Junior.
All right. Okay. So Bobby's on the phone line, and he's hearing you
Yes.
now. All right. Yeah, you were saying, Janice?
No, I was saying I just got a text message from someone that I know and from the police force. And they said to me, "You're on the program now. So I want you to let the people know that Dr. Mitchell, I mean, they didn't address him so respectfully, but that Dr. Mitchell, I'll do that, has promised the police officers last night all kind of thing, everything that the police was trying to get from him, he's now offering them. The person said to me, the source said to me that, listen, we had numerous meetings year after year begging him to give us what they were asking, would give them what they were asking for. He ignored them. And now, as an election gimmick, right? He he has given them everything that they had been asking for, but they see through it, they see it for what it is, an election gimmick, an election mama guy. And that person who is an officer themselves, they're saying, listen, I am convinced that the police has voted convincingly against the NNP, right? So he said also there is no insurance for police officers in in police vehicles. Can you imagine if an officer, for example, gets into an accident with a vehicle, there is no insurance. A police officer from Sates police station fell off from the back of a police vehicle earlier this year, and he was told there is no insurance. He sustained a broken foot and a fractured skull. This is the kind of things that the police has had to deal with. And this person, who is a member of the Royal Grenada Police Force, they've said to me that they are convinced that the police has voted convincingly against the new National Party. So that, again, folks, is a lot of good news.
Well, for the NDC, Bobby, what are some of the strengths of the NNP
Well,
in this
well,
election?
well, well, Junior, let me just say here that comment is, you wouldn't know what happened, but I can tell you, for example, that I was in the company of a bunch of fairly junior and senior police officers as Saturday night. And the conversation was overwhelming that that there's a faction. Yes, there's also going to be a faction as everything else. But the people, it was always the same thing you're hearing from people across the board. You're hearing the same exact message, which is the world we are facing now, even with the shortcomings that are within the NNP. When you factor in what we have experienced before, when you factor in the fact that this particular NDC is very, very inexperienced, I mean, let us be honest. We do not have politicians amongst this bunch. And in reality, we are facing a very, very potential of maybe the mother of all recessions coming at us. We are facing a very difficult times as it is. And you have to look at what it is that is going to, who's brought us through the hardest times in Grenada. And let's not forget, I always say this to people, January 2020, every single indicator had every part of our economy. We had 16% unemployment. We had every single part of our economy facing good growth. We had every monitoring agency out there that monitors was saying Grenada was doing tremendous in terms of growth. How quickly people forget. And I'm saying to you, when you take out this pandemic, this probably is the single best term of NNP's reign period of or any government in terms of growth. And business sectors across here, the business people can speak clearly to that. No, we have had a pandemic and it has set us back. But when you look throughout the Caribbean at the handling of pandemics, I think that who could we look at better than how Grenada handled it? So yes, you have a lot of young, and I would speak to they are very. I have always been on record as saying that Deacon is a good guy, right? So I'm not going to be out here to bash Deacon at all. And there are some young people that are very impressive, and you see as young people in politics. But at the end of the day, we as Grenadians are all going to have to make a choice of what is the best to take us through this particular time. And I can tell you, I mean, it just goes to show how Grenadians are and how we express ourselves, because the comments that Janice related to, I can tell you, I mean, people know that I have a lot of police friends, and I can tell you, I heard something completely different to what she heard. And it just speaks to how we are right now, the generation, the talks that are on the ground, the talks out here, and I would say to you that at the end of the day, when we look at the situation in Grenada, it is, I believe it's one of those elections that, you find yourself in and you see large numbers, you see support, you see on both sides.
Right.
It really is going to be an election that I think it could end up being, Junior, it could end up being 15-0 one way again. It could end up being 9-6 on the other side. Nobody, I think, can really predict this at this stage based on what they're seeing outside there and hearing.
Right. So a police officer just messaged me, right? And Janice, I'll give you a chance to respond. A police officer friend just messaged me, and he said that last election, he meaning the Prime Minister, signed a MOU to bring us up to scale, just old talk. He said, junior police switch. I see they vote NDC in 2008, and the same time they vote NNP in 2013. He says, and now they vote in yellow. Police don't vote party. They vote on the bread and butter issues. And this particular police officer is saying that he believed in this particular poll today, that he believed that the police voted yellow. And that's his perspective. That's not everybody's perspective, but that's his perspective. Janice, you respond to Bobby.
Listen, you know what? Sometimes when we back a certain horse, when we support a particular party or individuals, we surround ourselves with people of similar views. And like I say, it's all perspective. And I'm pretty sure that Bobby is renowned to be a staunch supporter of the NNP, as I was at one point. And based on that, politically, he would be surrounded by people with similar views. One of the things I want to, Bobby mentioned also, he talked about business people and how business people felt pre-COVID and how they possibly feel now and how well they were doing. I must make it clear that many business people, and I don't want to use a brush to sweep across the whole thing, but there's a lot of business people who could be considered elitist in this country. And as a result, they give big campaign donations to support political parties. And at the end of the day, all of the policies of the country, everything in the country are being done to support them. You understand what I'm saying? So how is it affecting the poor people, right? They get all these breaks, they get all these incentives, or everything they get because they give campaign donations for these very reasons. And that's why, for example, I'll give one example of people in the past who were bringing in cars from, and making a mint, making good money. And then all of a sudden, taxes and whatever went up, but anyway, the condition was created where they were encouraged because it is to protect certain companies that are here in Grenada and are bringing in new cars and so on, and they were being affected by it. So the fact that business people are doing well is no indicator to me as to how well the people who are the working class and the poor people are doing in the country. So
yeah,
that's my take on that.
Junior, let me give a little bit of an answer on this, right?
Right.
Business is what drives a country. Business. If you don't have jobs, if you don't have business, you don't have capital flowing among the whole country. In 2013, at the end of NAC's last reign, at Christmas, December 2013, they could have almost closed the mall in town because practically no store was left open in the mall at that time. Everywhere was closed, right? In 2020, January 2020, you couldn't find a space anymore. They were expanding. As a matter of fact, they're building a whole new car park in the back of the mall, right? Because that is the amount of people trying to do business in the mall. That is the capital flow that they have to expand the car park because the amount of people that want to drive and do business, right? So to say that business is some sort of elitist thing, I don't think the stores in town.
That's not what I said.
No, hold on. But Jennifer, I listen. So I would like to express my point, and you're right. I think it is a little bit assumptuous to say that I am a supporter of NMP. So therefore, the people I surround myself are only NMP. I think that anybody who knows me knows that Hold on. Just take it, please. I will listen again. I'm that kind of person. I have listened, and anybody who knows me, for instance, Jason is NDCI, and he tags me pretty much in everything. And I just commented actually on that I love to listen to the other side. It's important. And I have many, many friends who are strong NDCI supporters of the NDC party, right? And I believe that as Ghanaians, you voiced your opinion on something, and I told you your opinion on the other side. I have no idea. And most officers that I know, if they're already things, they're not going to be out there saying who they're going to vote for. At the end of the day, I could get up in the morning and I might go on Thursday and vote for somebody else. It has nothing to do with your personal vote. It has to do with the policies and what you think is best for Grenada. And I'm saying to you that the concerns that I've seen expressed across the board, right? Across the board, even with people who like NEC, and most of the people I know that like NEC is really and truly not a matter of liking NEC. It's a matter of hating Dr. Mitchell, right? And that's a reality. Right? And I'm saying to you, I have had my differences with Dr. Mitchell as well. Right? So I'm saying to you, at the end of the day, I look at when I get into that voting box on Thursday, and I hope everybody that goes into the voting box on Thursday can actually put the color behind them. And when they actually vote, they vote for what they truly believe will be the best government to take us through the next 5 years and factoring everything that is outside coming into Grenada, right? And factoring what we are facing as a country right now. And they want to do that, I'm fine. If you get up Thursday morning, Thursday night, when I get up, NDC has won the election. Bet your bottom dollar I will give the support I can give as a Grenadian. Every Grenadian should, because at the end of the day, if we don't get behind what is won, how do we go forward as a people? And I'm saying the same exact way for NNP.
Yes, yes. I know Janice was trying to get a few words in. Janice?
Yeah.
Your take.
Oh no, absolutely not. What I'm saying is that it's very difficult to stay silent when a person is quoting you and misquoting you deliberately, actually taking what you say and spinning it. So it's kind of like you say something and they're spewing back something to you that is not true. It's very, very difficult to stay silent. And I'm very respectful. I try to listen as well, but Bobby is good at what he does. He has been doing the rungs of PR for political organizations for quite a while, so he's pretty good at spinning and that type of thing. But it's all good. But what exactly would you like me to comment on, Junior?
What is the strength? Let's come off the I don't want it to be a personal attack. I want it to be constructive, right? Janice, what's the strength what strength do you think that the NDC has this time around?
I think the strength of the NDC is really about reforming. It's about reformation. It's about new vision for Grenada. It's about the poor people. It's about the working class people. It's about lifting the standard of living for every Grenadian. That's how I see it. I see it about education for our young people. I see skills training. I see almost something like what happened in the Morris Bishop era, where people looked at some of the things that Morris was proposing. They were so tied to Gary and what was taking place there, but he saw that people were to some extent in bondage and that we had stagnated, and he wanted to see the country grow. He wanted to see the country move forward. He came forward with bright ideas, and I feel like this is what NDC under the leadership of Deacon Mitchell is doing right now, presenting Grenada with things that can take the country forward, that some people cannot even believe that it is possible, but it is actually possible. And I always like to say this, sometimes people are in bondage, they are in jail, and the jail door pops open and they say, you know what, you can walk, you can go free, you're free to go. And some people are so scared because they're scared of the unknown. They are scared of the things that they don't know because they've been just trained and brainwashed to believe one thing for so long. They've been brainwashed into thinking that so many things are just not possible. So I really think that what the NDC has brought forward is like, yes, we can do this. We can achieve those things that is being talked about. It can happen. It can happen. People can be more educated. It's about the willpower and the determination to do something. Everything is not going to happen overnight, but I see in the leadership of the NDC just the desire, the determination to take Grenada on a different path. And there are people who are holding it back. There are people that are pulling back and saying it can't be done. It's a pie in the sky. But I totally believe in the vision of Deacon Mitchell and where he wants to take this country to on a different level. He wants to take us on a different path. And that's why I support the NDC.
Bobby, do you think that is more?
I love that. I love that, because let me tell you this, right? The same level that Janice talked about there, right? And she's right. So many young people were inspired by the start of it and all the great ideas that it seemed to have. But when the political leadership realized, and when it came to the point that this as an idea and the concept of it was good for a certain angle. It came from a certain angle and it looked great. But when they realized that the economy could not sustain itself by what they were doing, and they started to look for outside help, this went against what the revolution was about and who it's supposed to be. And this ultimately was the beginning of the downfall of the revolution. This is everybody, it's clear as it says. And this speaks so well to the issue at hand. Yes, it is great to have great ideas. Everybody can sit down and come up with a brilliant idea. And I have nothing against brilliant ideas, because ideas are the creativity part of it is what's important to come up and to keep going and to advance. But what is important to understand is in order to get those ideas to become reality, you also need to have that experience, the connections, the thing. If people ask themselves today, tomorrow morning we have a hurricane hit Grenada. Which party, just think about this for a second, Junior. You have a party that is asking people for donations to get buses to transport their people to a political rally, right? They want to have a political rally, so they didn't know people here to donate so they can get a bus to go. You have another party that has all the connections, so I've put the finance in place. You have to ask yourself, if a hurricane hit this island and we get hit, where's the connections? Where's the political connections to make us be able to survive? You have to look at all of this. I'm not against NEC. I think you have a lot of brilliant ideas. But when you hear the ideas and you say to yourself, how are you going to deliver this idea with a complete novice cast, right? In these times in Grenada, it's all well and good to have the idea, but we need the experience too. We need you to have some idea of how it works. As you know, Junior and Sada say, even when NMP is in power, sometimes you want to get something done and they have all the best will in the world to get it done. But when it gets into that system, and it gets on certain PS desks, and it gets within certain things and the bureaucracy loses it, sometimes an idea that is the most brilliant idea could take months instead of a day to even move. And you're talking about putting in a team that has absolutely no experience to deal with that background. And I'm saying to you, if people don't see some reason to have some concern about that, right, it really is that they are putting their color before the nationality of the country. This is not to knock the fact that we have to give youth our opportunity. Don't get me wrong, because I'm not one of those people that believe politicians should stay in office forever. Believe you me, I do not think that is the best way, right? So I would say to you that that is why, and when I hear people say Bobby is aligned to NMP, I have not been to one single rally on either side. I have listened to both. Right? So when I hear people say these things, it's laughable. In Grenada, if you support something and you think something is the best, somehow or the other, it means that you cannot like something else. Somehow or the other, it means that you have to be some card-holding member, something like that. And it is unfortunate that we think that. As much as Janice likes NDC, I don't want to believe that Janice is not capable of making an informed decision when the day comes. I don't believe that. I believe that at the end of the day, somebody can voice their views, right, and are still capable at a split second being able to change their mind if certain circumstances presented itself.
Right. Let me ask you a quick question. Is it a fair comparison? And Janice, you could chime in here as well. To look at a party that been in power for a number of years, right? So they have the machinery. They have the machinery of connections, and compare that to a party who is trying to get into power. So they obviously don't have the machinery, they don't have the connects, they don't have the all of the things that come with being in power. So comparing that to say, okay, this one is searching for money to get buses, and this one don't have to do that because they already have the funds to run the campaign. Is it a fair comparison though?
That's the Janice.
Well, anyone could take it. Is
I do not believe it is a fair comparison. But before I get to that, I need to address a couple of things that Bobby said, right? He said something about ideas and every idea and that. But I'd like to say to you, Bobby, that every accomplishment starts with a great idea, right? Another thing you talked about. I am not going to go into what caused the revolution to dissolve. I'm not an expert on that. I don't want to go there. I just wanted to make a correlation with the great gentleman and how Deacon Mitchell is actually doing his thing. You talk about ideas. Morris Bishop was able to do agro-processing. Deacon talks about that. He brought us an international airport, and I hope you remember that. He introduced literacy programs. I hope you remember that. You also talked about grassroots donations, which is what the NDC has had to do to a large extent. And I'll tell you what, this is the best possible thing that could happen. What grassroots donation does, it means that people are so motivated, they are so passionate about their party and about moving Grenada forward that they are willing to dig deep into their personal finances to make sure that this happens. It means that this government that is coming in, that will come into power, and I say it, you know what, I'm not a hypocrite. When I supported the NNP, I supported them without any fear. Now I support the NDC and I do the same thing. And I'll tell you what, having grassroots support is the best thing anybody. It means that we're not indebted to anyone. It means that we don't owe anybody anything. So when the leadership of the NDC has to make important decisions, it means that they can do that without having to without being obligated to anybody. So I'm glad you raised those points. I'll tell you what, there's a lot of people on here, Junior, that I'm sure would love to be able to jump in and chime in, and time is going quickly. So I don't know. I mean, it's your show. I can't dictate to you. Yes.
No. It's important. And I like this discussion. I think it's very constructive, right? Yes. What I'm hearing and what we're hearing from the NNP versus the NDC, what you, Janice, deem as a NDC, what you deem as the biggest thing going for your campaign, others see as a liability, like Bobby saying, well, you have young candidates.
Yes.
You have young candidates who have not been in political office before, so they have not been tried and tested in political mainstream politics before.
But
right?
Bobby said something earlier which disqualified what he was claiming there about lack of experience, because at the end of the day, there's quite a number of people. In fact, if not all of them, we have had 2 people who've served as senators. We've had a number of people who have been extremely successful in their lines of business. So what I see is a group of people who have the capacity to learn on their feet. I have seen Deacon Mitchell. I remember about 2 months ago, I came to Grenada. About a month and a half ago, I came to Grenada. And I invited Deacon Mitchell to walk with me in Windsor Forest, which, by the way, is a place that the wave has swept in the opposite direction. And that particular PD is going to be won so handsomely by NDC, and I'm so confident of that. But I walked with Deacon Mitchell, and I got an opportunity for the first time to understand this young man. We were walking through that area, and there are people who were walking with us, people who were, used to canvassing and so forth for the NDC. And there were a couple of houses that they pointed out. And they said, you know what, it makes sense going there. These people are strong NNP. He said, you know what, I love Callaloo. His exact words, that's who I want to see. And I see Deacon Mitchell walk up to a couple of houses and started to have conversations with people. And I saw people converted within minutes of interacting with that young man. And some of these people have become some of the most advent supporters of Deacon Mitchell and his philosophy right now. So we're not just dealing with a man that has, I saw his heart, I saw his soul, I saw who he was. And that is the day I was convinced, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that this is the individual that I'd like to leave, I'd like my children to benefit from that. I'd like my grandchildren. I'd love generations of young people to have the opportunity to be governed by a young leader like Deacon Mitchell. And I think for the people who are seeing things differently and seeing it as pie in the sky, like I said earlier, every wonderful thing that has come forward in this world has been with an idea. There are people who are paid to bring ideas together. They are put into rooms and paid for amazing ideas. So the ideas that are being put forward today in this election cycle, and people are talking about pie in the sky, I think Grenada has an opportunity to see real change. And if they do not grasp the opportunity, it would be a sad day. But I know they will. Grenadians are smart.
But Junior, let's start with this. I think NNP has won pretty much all those elections, and the reason why they win them, and they win them so handsomely when they win them, is because they do have the grassroots. They do look after the poor man better than their elite parties or leaders that have represented in the past the NDC vision. No, this NDC party has made changes. I am one of the people, I can tell you, and I share Janice's things about Deacon. I do. my interactions with him is that he is a very good person and somebody that I will have absolutely no problem if they were elected a leader for Grenada, right? So because they're a very good speaker they don't come tarnished, right? So I'm saying to you, at the end of the day, though, great speakers and great ideas without some level of experience, without some level of connection, end up exactly like how the last NDC. Remember, the last NDC had brilliant ideas among them too of all the things that they were going to do. But after 5 years, they were voted out of office, right? Because the connections to make those, and they didn't just get voted out of office. And let's be clear, they went out 15-0 and then 15-0 followed. Right? Those things don't happen in politics, right? Unless there is a clear thing of how bad they were. And I'm saying to you, in the best way possible to say this, experience counts. And experience with ideas counts. And experience with ideas and connections count the most, right? When you go into this thing, right? And I'll give you a classic example of it. I had a conversation with somebody who was an extremely, and I think the entire Grenada knows it could not have been somebody who supported NDC more than, for instance, a Katai, right? I mean, he's painted everything. He was there. So when I saw him change to NMP, right? When I saw it, I was like, this is one of the people that I can't even understand how they will change. Right? And it boils down to the same thing. It boiled down to him at the end, right? You have one party with all of the connections. You have one party out there who has the experience, who have gone out and who could, when there is a problem, they are able to call on help from all over the world. When you do not have those connections, when you have not played a role to understand how the government works, right? When you have so little experience within the party, I do believe, I'm not, don't get me wrong enough. I am not saying we should just make a judgment on that alone. I'm saying to you, it is something that people should factor into their judgment, right? I'm not saying it's the only thing that you have to consider. I'm just saying to sit down there and say, no, let's not factor that in. Let's just put a complete poll, change government, and go completely in with a world recession outside, with a pandemic that is we still have things jumping up on the outside that come and hit us. I am thinking, seriously, I'm saying to you, that is, to me, outside. That is a frightening time for people to be thinking about changing the government. If they decide to change it, what I'm saying is, we better all get behind it. We better all get behind it. And that is what I'm saying. I'm not here. I honestly see a lot of strength in both. And when we talk grassroots, I'm sorry, NEC has always had a support base. They've always had a support base. And a lot of that support base is off of a hate Dr. Mitchell. Right? As certain mouthpieces of their express on the radio all the time. When you see NNP supporters come on the radio, right? Throw P on them and these kind of things that we see out there, right? You have all of this, right? But at the end of the day, I think the majority of Grenadians in between, they just want the best for Grenada. They don't hate another Grenadian. They don't dislike a person. They just want the best for Grenada. And because of that, there are going to be people that like one side over another. It's going to be a personality. We are very small countries. It's going to be about who family you're connected to. There's a whole bunch of different reasons.
Right. Let me ask you this question, because this question has been tossed around a few times. If everyone that's calling, just hold the call for a little bit. We open up the phone lines in a little bit. If the new team in the NDC, right? Currently, as you said, they don't have the experience. How would they gain the experience if they never got into politics? Because they would say one, when Dr. Keith Mitchell started, he was young. When Kate started, she was young. When Emmeline started, she was young and inexperienced. And they might be in a better position now, more experience. So how do you gain the experience in politics?
I think being in the opposition is a good start. I think it can help. You can get into experience. You can understand a better working of the government. You can get to know people inside, whether or not you're operating within parliament, right? It's not thing. It's the workings that count and making connections. Because even though you are sitting in the opposition, you are able to establish connections. You are able to do it. It gives you more respect, and people will see if you are also genuine to work your communities. If you're going to be there sitting down and okay, you didn't win this time, and you just pull up and you collapse and you go off the ground, then you're going to see a lot of things come out from that experience, and that experience will not hurt you. It will actually get you stronger, I believe. No, could it be that they can get into office and do it and pull it off? Bro, I am not in a position to know. I will say to you this, right? Janice talks about grassroots donations, right? Grassroots donations as if that is what has driven NDC so far. But when you hear the allegations out there, and let me repeat, these are allegations. You don't know what is true. I'm not aware of the funding. I've seen an article written about concerns from banks. I don't know. But what I can tell you is that the allegations that you hear out there about the CBI funding, the allegations you hear about there about bounce checks all over the place. There's been no questions on them from the media investigating these. No media person in Grenada has said, let me investigate this and report on this and dig into this and get information. But you hear them outside. Funny enough, anytime you hear something about Dr. Mitchell, all of the media is rushing to ask the question.
Well, I was looking at Kellan Bob yesterday, and Kellan Bob, who's a good friend of Ride Along, big up to Kellan Bob. He had Deacon Mitchell on the program, right? And he asked him the question about CBI funding and will CBI and the nature of the donation for his campaign. And he also stated that he's in support of campaign financing legislation. And that's another thing that I would like to talk about as well. So there have been questions to the NDC, i.e. via this particular program. So it's not all media not asking him the question. The question was asked on the Kellan Bob report yesterday.
Yeah, well, I agree with you, Junior. I should not have said all the media, but I in the context I was saying, on the whole, we seem to always find that the media, anything on Dr. Mitchell seems to be, let's go dig that to the grave. But when you hear from the other side, it because let's be honest, wouldn't all of us who are really trying to be fair and balanced about things, if you hear serious allegations of things, wouldn't you want that candidate is investigated fully before they can put themselves up to leadership? And listen, I want to be also very clear. I personally, before even hearing any of these allegations, I would say to you that is one of the candidates that I personally like. So I'm saying at the same time, I would like to have it investigated. I would have liked to bring this evidence forward. Bring this, if this is allegations, let's just see it all come out on all sides, no matter which party, no matter which party. I've always said, Raman, if we have evidence about Mitchell,
we have been trying to investigate a lot of stuff. Let's talk about this.
We didn't hear the first thing that you said.
I said if Dr. Mitchell had not called the election so quickly, this snap election, perhaps there would have been time to investigate people before they became candidates. Another thing, Bobby, I think a lot of what you're doing is fear-mongering. You guys have tried, well, the NNP party, I say you guys, the NNP party has tried everything. Their strategies have failed miserably, in my view. And what they're doing now is fear-mongering, talking about who would you trust to do this and who would you trust to do that. You talk about cat eye, like serious? That's your guys' mantra? Let me tell you something. I will not sit here and say that there was not a time when the NDC was going through some traumatic periods and uncertainty. But I know that with the leadership of Mitchell, they have taken this thing forward, and there is nothing you can say. Katai, I'm sure he regret the decision he made. You talk about hate for Dr. Mitchell. I personally don't hate Dr. Mitchell, and I know a lot of the supporters of the NDC have a lot of respect for Dr. Mitchell. He has made a lot of contribution to the development of the country for the years he's been there to some extent, and at other times he has dropped the ball completely. So to talk about hate, I want you to tell me, Bobby, who bought the post office? Who owns the post office? Are you willing to tell us that?
Oh, hold on. Sorry. Yeah, Bobby, your audio was down. Go ahead, Bobby.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say something about the post office, but I didn't hear before.
Well, I can't repeat it. You would have to probably go back and listen to the live, but I want you to tell us who owned the post office, who bought the post office. Let's talk about transparency.
Who bought the post office? But Janice, I just said to you, I think I said it clear across the board that when somebody makes an allegation, I just think it should be investigated. Right? I think it should be investigated.
So give people 1 day to complete registration. What are you talking about? Yeah, so instead of campaigning, you're saying that the NDC and everybody else should be investigating less than a month.
You said fairmongering. Hold on. You said fairmongering. You want to discuss a pastor in Grenada? Who bought that pastor? Where's that pastor staying? What house was he staying in? Was that an NP house? Was that something NP did? So what's the fairmongering you're really talking about? Because I don't see NP doing all that. I don't see NP doing that all.
If the pastor was in this discussion, I would be asking in that question. One, the pastor is not the leadership of the NDC. Secondly, he's not on this panel.
But are you willing to admit that the pastor? Are you willing to admit that pastor was connected to a house of a very high-ranking member of the NDC?
I'm not aware, Bobby. I'm not aware.
I don't know about the affiliation. I haven't personally investigated the matter myself.
Right.
And that's
so I'm saying, Junior.
I'm looking.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Again. Let me repeat. Allegations can be investigated, and this thing that the
hold on, guys, hold on. It's not gonna work when
only uneducated people will believe that there was only 1 day to go out and get registered. For months, both parties were campaigning and telling all the people to go and get registered. So this context that we're trying to tell that we only had 1 day. I mean, only very uneducated people will believe that nonsense. If Canadians chose not to go, even though both parties were telling them for months to go, and mind you, from those months, a number of people were going, even if it was more on one side than the other, right? The fact of the matter is, if Grenadians want to sit down and procrastinate, you cannot blame the government. The people all across. Dr. Mitchell was calling for months. The NDC was calling for months. As a matter of fact, NDC was driving harder because they were selling to the people that it could come like this. So at the end of the day, if they could not get their people to believe the message, what was coming? Why turn around and try to blame it on the government afterwards? And you're making your people seem like if they're uneducated. I don't believe that for a minute. I don't believe Canadians are uneducated. Sorry.
Right. Janice, go ahead. Here's what hold on.
Like I said to you, Bobby is excellent at spinning, right? He's excellent at spinning, right? He's excellent at spinning. So I'm not even going to address that. Let me talk about the shrimp farm. Let's talk about investigation. Let's talk about the poultry farm. Let's talk about briefcase. Let's talk about all these things.
Which poultry farm are we talking about? Which one are we talking about exactly? Are we talking about the recent one involving somebody within your party high up? Which one are we talking about exactly? Because we could talk about the 10 million loan. We could discuss that. We could discuss the what do you call it? A certain oh gosh, what do you call it again? Not a bank, but you can investigate that one too. I bet you everything if you investigate that one, you will get plenty more evidence. Plenty more, because it is pretty much well known on the grounds in Grenada already. Right? But you can investigate that one too. Right? Because there are people who talk about it who have already done some investigation. And they're shocked. And I can tell you, in Grenada, there's a lot of things that you see happen and you can't understand, right? How it doesn't come out to light. But then, at the end of the day, like I say, right, here, allegations will always be allegations. I have always said, and I will repeat this till the day I die, The day somebody bring real evidence in front of me that Dr. Mitchell robbed this country, I would want him to face the most serious charges as a leader as I would want any other leader to face. When I hear certain people say things and you go and then you look at it and they never ever, the evidence is never there. Is he great at hiding it? Is he great? I don't know. I can't speak to it. But when I hear the kind of things that people have said about me and about other people in Grenada that have no factual background whatsoever, why should I believe when somebody accuses somebody else without clear evidence? Because I have been everything in Grenada. This is Ireland.
All right, guys, we're now joined with Kim Mills in Carriacou. He just came in on the live. Kim, how are you doing? Are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you fine.
Good. Kim, were you able to follow the conversation up to this point?
No, I was in and out of it, so I sort of like got lost track, what was going on, but just got a little bit end of the last speaker.
Right. Okay, so we have Bobby and we have Janice. Say hi, guys. Kim Mills from
Hi,
Carriacou.
Mr. Mills.
Yeah,
Okay, man.
Kim, what is the situation on the ground right now in Carriacou?
Well, as it pertains right now, Carriacou is basically ready to go to the polls. I mean, everybody's been anxiously waiting for this hour, and the countdown has been going on for the last since the 40 days notice was given. And Carriacou is really ready for change. I could tell her that straight up because I am based here. I live here, talk to the residents, and as it stands right now, it's just a matter of hours before the people are ready to cast the vote. And in Carriacou, I could tell her straight up we're going to have one of the highest turnout there is in any elections because people are taking this one very, very serious.
Yeah. Who has the momentum from your perspective, Kim? Who has the momentum on the ground in Carriacou?
The NDC, without any doubt, has the momentum. As a matter of fact, what has happened is that the NDC started off, especially in Carriacou, about 3 to 4 months ago, on the ground with meetings and establishing themselves and doing a lot of programs and things like that, because it was rumored that the possibility of the elections could be called at any time, even in last December, early January. People, they were anticipating that, so they weren't waiting. So they build up this momentum, and in the meantime, the NNP rather, was pretty much relaxed. They're not, because they didn't feel threatened because there was no real, NDC like of the past that was posing any threat. And then when the narrative changed, when Deacon came in and he started to put his team together, and that's it. And Tevin, who's the caretaker at the time, now he's the candidate, really pushed it on because he's been working for the past 4 years non-stop. I mean, give the guy some credit. So right now the momentum is 80%, I could even say, in favor of the NDC, but that doesn't mean anything yet, until we get to the polls on Thursday. But right now, NDC without a doubt is in real command. And what is happening now with the NNP, they are basically in Carriacou defending, trying to find something to say or to rebut against. But they don't have any issues because Carriacou has been left, untouched for the longest while, basically neglected the cries of the people. And I believe that's the reason why NDC has the momentum right now.
In fact, Mr. Mills, I was in Carriacou recently, and I understood that Dr. Mitchell was invited by the candidate to visit P.T. Martinique, and within 17 minutes, he had to leave the island because the people of P.T. Martinique, they rejected him tremendously. Have you heard anything to that effect?
Well, I heard the same story too that you just been hearing there, and I try to confirm it, and the people in P.T. Martinique were confirming it that was the case. I mean, if that story is 100% true, that's very embarrassing. But why I want to believe it is because after they came from P.T. Martinique on Thursday, right? Yesterday, which is Saturday, they went, not yesterday rather, sorry, Friday, they still opted to go back to P.T. Martinique. Now, if you just come from there, just a matter of 24 to 48 hours, why are you going back? Something about that story could be true, and I want to believe it, but I am not an eyewitness, so I can 100% say that that's the case. But that revisiting P.T. Martinique is saying to me that things didn't go well while the Prime Minister was there. The stories could be true.
Right. I want to go into a very important topic, one that we had on the program before, and it had to do with campaign financing. Bobby, what's your take on campaign financing and having it legislated that it's very clear who donate to political campaigns, and having a cap on businesses and the amount of money that they could donate to a particular campaign? What's your take on campaign financing reform, Bobby?
I 100% will support that. I have nothing against that. I think it evens the playing field. And let me tell you, maybe it would even work in the advantage of the ruling parties at times. Because let's face it, right? If you look across social media outside of Grenada, right? When you come across and you look at social media, one thing that has been consistent, right? Consistent across the board is that the strength of support for the opposition party has always been there from outside, right? Has always been there. I no matter when they were having the worst time, when they're losing 15-0, you were still seeing across social media the massive support for them from outside. So I'm not necessarily saying, I think that the NNP, in terms of raising funds throughout their years in office, has been stronger. I think that they have a further reach, not necessarily social media, people that voice up opinions and stuff like that on social media. But it's going to be, it's like I said, Junior, it's going to be a very, very interesting. The last two elections, I could have predicted, and I did, and it's there for everybody to see. I predicted 15-0 both times. Somebody asked me this elections, who is going to win? I would say to you, I have my gut feeling about who should win, but I will also say to you that there is no way, there's nothing that I have seen so far that can tell me that anybody out here on this ground could actually predict this particular election. If they're saying that they're saying it because of their own support. But if you're going on, what are you seeing outside? I mean, let's be honest. While the big meetings, while the huge meetings outside, the rallies, I will call them, have shown massive support for both parties, you're looking at the small meetings and you're seeing very good support for both as well. So I couldn't do it, and I would never venture to say something. I think I think people have long made up their mind. If you ask me if something can be said between now and Thursday to change their mind, no, I don't think so. But at the same time, I think everybody just has to go out there, vote for who their conscience tells them to vote for, and then when this elections is finished, no matter who wins, please, 6 o'clock in the evening when it's done, please, when the results are finished, please just all of us just get around to understanding Grenada has got to be supported by all of us. There can't be division. There can't be, if we want to achieve, no matter which party is in office.
Yeah. Janice, any respond?
Oh, I don't mind responding on that, Junior. This is my side of it, you know. For instance, you have the incumbent been in there, 15 seats, no problem at all, in full command. But now you have the challenger coming in, and they are putting up a stiff challenge. Whenever you see these things happening there, from my experience, the challenger, the one that's coming in there now, would have the momentum, and the fact that you would find the other side, which is the incumbent, saying that, well, it's going to be a close thing. Listen, that signals that there is something there that is in the making, whereby the incumbent could be thrown out of office. Because under no circumstances should you be making any statements like that or seeing a challenge of the nature and trying your best now to hold on. Because this election, as compared to other elections, I think the NDC has rebranded itself and they've taken a different strategy, and they've really, in my view, gone out there and get the sources proper, get their act together, and they have in everything that you're looking, whether it's on social media, they've been very prominent and maybe dominating. Whether it's on production, they've been there as well. And the NNP right now is basically trying to do catch up. Let me just say something quickly. Now, over the past rallies, if you notice, the backstage, the backdrop of the NDC has been, I mean, to me, I've never even seen that in Grenada yet, that they have been doing an excellent job in getting messages out in the back, whether it's photos or whatever the case might be. And the NNP have been blank for the longest while. Now, last night in the stadium, wherever they were, they tried to put something there to compete. The next thing is, again, look at the way the NNP is on the defense. I mean, they're trying now in that the lighting of the phones and all these things that Deacon has come across with. NNP was doing that last night. They're lacking ideas. I mean, really, they're feeling the pressure. And anytime you see a challenger is coming to you like that, look out. Look out. Without a doubt.
Exactly. Junior, if you'd allow me, I'd like to talk about something, agro-processing. And we know for a fact that a couple of plants around the country have been closed down, right, during the leadership of the NNP. Bobby, let's talk about the mangoes. I'm lucky, I'm happy that I came to Grenada while mango on the ground making dog, for example. We have a agro produce chemist lab. We have Bureau of Standards. What have they done for the people in the agricultural sector? What have they done for agro processes in Grenada? I work for a company in the United States where we do labels and packaging. I came here and stayed a month in this country looking to see how I can help people in the agro processing industry. And that is when I realized I could not even sell labels to people because their products, although they have amazing products, great products made organically and with love, it is not packaged properly. You don't even know the contents of the products. I walk around to some of the souvenir shops, right? And they have one or two local products thrown in there haphazardly, right? Some of them just have a name. Imagine a tourist is coming off the ship. They just see a product with a name that, say, for example, tamarind ball. You've never eaten a tamarind ball before. What do you do with it? Bathe with it? Wash with it? What do you do with it? The produce chemist lab has failed Grenada's agricultural sector. The Bureau of Standards is a waste of time. You know what they do now? They import a small amount of apples that they sell to agro processors instead of helping them. They don't even have the ability to test the content, the content of produce outside of the salt and the sugar that's in the product. After how many years? These are just statutory bodies that are there to collect revenue from donors and are doing nothing for the people of Grenada. You're going to tell me that this government has been in office for 20 plus years, older than some of the young people who are voting today, and you're defending them and talking about if something were to happen and if we were to have this, and if, suppose what? It's time for the NDC government to take a rest. We have a group of
NDC government take a rest. I like that one. That's a good one. That was a good one. That was good. That was good. That was good. You want the NDC government to take a rest? I agree. All right. So listen. At the end of the day, like I said, right, Junior. At the end of the day, like I said, right. For instance, people see these things and they don't see other things in the background, right? For example, every single expert out there said the biggest problem facing us in any form of manufacturing is our energy costs, right? So what does the government do? The government talks to the people. The government says they're going to invest. They're going to buy Grenelec. They're going to get it in there, and then they're going to get to a point where they can subsidize, reutilize, let the energy, the factories invest into the electricity by the solar panel and whichever ways are put in place so we can reduce our energy and subsidize our costs for factories. This is something that NNP talks now for the ages. So they get the electricity company. But what does the other side do? The other side is fighting down. The other side is fighting down why they invest in the electricity company now. Why they have more pressing issues. This has always been the other side's issue. No matter what, they build a health center in Guelph. It is open. It is state of the art. Guess what they do? They come out and say, what? Now they build that. They don't even have doctors. They don't have nurses. They don't have it's always going to be this. And guess what?
Every question you ask Bobby, he does not respond, and he goes on to another issue. Bobby, you have asked me questions, and I have responded. Every time I ask a question,
Janice, we cannot say anything if you scream over here.
Some of this happens when the other side is in office as well. Don't get me wrong, Junior, I am not going to say that this is all NMPs, the good one, and you see this nonsense? I'm against this. When it's a good idea, push forward with the idea, get behind it, support it. Let me give you something, Junior, and I will never forget this, right? The GTA concept was actually a concept that was formulated under the NDC government. They did all the research work. If I remember correctly, at the time, it was Simon Steele that was working with them doing the research. But when it came time to implement, they basically shelved the project and with all the good ideas. So NMP took this up, great ideas, put it back into play, and it has been one of the best things we have ever done for our tourism sector, without a doubt, right? And yet, right, what happens is you find the other side say, well, that was our idea. How is it your idea if you don't finish it? If you don't find a way to complete the project, whether or not that means you have to stay in office to complete it by winning the elections, by doing enough good that the people will keep you in power to give you another chance to finish their project, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you don't finish it. If I have an idea that one day I want to build the best nightclub in Grenada, but I never get around to building it, and somebody gets the idea, and somebody gets the finance, and somebody gets the heart to build that project, should I then say, boy, you know, that was my idea, I was going to build a club, it's mine? No, you can't. But what counts is what is best for Grenada. And no matter what people want to say, at the end of the day, when we look at the history of delivery in this country, delivery is real clear about which government should be in office, right? And I'm thinking, could a new government and a new change come in and make it better? If they can, put it this way, if they get in, the only way they're going to achieve that is if we get behind it and support the things and not just be condemning because there's not the party we like, right? Because once you do that, the problem will never go away. And that's what I'm saying.
The truth about it is everybody needs to come on board. I want to get Janice has some passionate response, and I want to get Janice respond on it. But let me also say, because I saw a few people ask this question, why are we not seeing Bobby? The reason why we're not seeing Bobby, because we had a problem connecting on the live, so that's why you're not seeing him here. He's not no kind of conspiracy, nothing. I know there's gonna be some kind of talk on Facebook that we have Bobby on the phone, we can't see him and everybody else there. That's not the case, guys. We had some connection issues. That's why Bobby's on the phone line and you cannot see him here. No conspiracy there, right? Let me make that very clear. Janice, go ahead.
No. The reason why I got a little agitated earlier, I was saying that every time I ask Bobby to respond to something, he ignores it and he moves on to another issue completely. And like I say, I would like for us to be able to have a conversation. We should be able to. I make my point, he responds to it, and vice versa, and we keep it moving. So that's what I prefer. I don't know.
Yeah, but the only thing is, if we have both of you guys talking over each other, there's no value for the viewers because nobody hear anything. I just hear noise in my head, so I understand what anyone is saying. So yeah, Bobby, one of the things, and Kim, you could respond to it as well. One of the things that's plaguing me and is plaguing a lot of broadcasters, a lot of people, not only broadcasters, everybody, is that Dr. Mitchell decided, and I think it was on last election as well, that he's not willing to debate. He will not debate Deacon, and he would not have any one of his candidates debate. And they are making very limited television appearance on independent media. What's your take on a debate and having the candidates coming together and putting out their points, talking about their strong points, and have it debatable so that the audience could really see clarity? Why isn't your side not willing to debate?
Well, first of all, let me repeat, not my side, right? Let's repeat this. My side is Grenada. I've expressed that over and over. So let's get this So we all understand this. Now to the debate issue. Look, I will say this about the NMP. The NMP's way of debating, and the way of bringing their points across and talking has taken a direction of where they're doing consultation across the island, where they're having direct conversations with the people. This is what they have been doing for a number of years now. They believe, Dr. Mitchell believes, and let me tell you, there has been a number of evidence to support that over the years, that their media, when we talk about independent media in Grenada, I mean, some people try to pretend that they're independent when it suits them. But the reality is, we have seen in Grenada,
Yeah, but
right?
you can't be scared. Come on, you can't be scared
No,
of
no, no, no,
reporters.
no, no. It's not
You
Grenada,
can't
but
be
it's not
scared of
scared.
reporters.
It's not scared. It is, listen, I 100% believe in debate. So I want to make that clear to you. I 100% believe in debate. So, however, if a particular party decides, for instance, that the way that they will get their message across to the people the best is in individual consultation against, okay, if I'm not a great speaker, right, but I am a deliverer, somebody who will actually get there and deliver when the time comes. Would I put myself to go up against a great speaker who might then not be able to do the delivery, or would I deliver and let my delivery speak for what I'm doing? And you see, it depends. What is it as a goal? If a political party feels that the strength of going up against, and I'm not saying it isn't. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it is. But let us be honest, right? Deacon Mitchell is a very, very good speaker. He is very good. And it reminds me of what I'll say right now. Another great speaker out there is Akima Paul. And I think that is a very potential future leader of this country, right? People have different strengths. If at the moment, if this particular time in Dr. Mitchell's reign, he feels his best way to express and get the points across and reach the people is by talking to them directly and letting them ask him questions which he answers. I can't fault him. That's his choice. If it works for him and the party and the country, fine.
Janice, do you think that it's an injustice to the population if you don't have the head-to-head debate?
I think it is important. I think it is important that the people hear from the leaders of our country. I think it's important that they hear them side by side. I think it's important to hear what the individuals have to say about the same issues at the same time. It is the best way to really understand our leadership and to understand where they are taking our country. I think it's important. But I wanted to make a comment about the media. I have good information, solid information, that some statutory bodies, and when I talk about statutory bodies, I'm talking about places like Housing Authority, places like GIDC, whether it is marketing board, statutory bodies. I'm just giving examples of statutory bodies. But a lot of these people have been given instructions not to support certain media houses, right? Not to support them in terms of advertising, because they are perceived as not being 100% in line with NNP and what's going on with the NNP right now. Let's look at Housing Authority, for example, right? I have no inside sources, right? But let's look at that organization. Most of the people that they are targeting with advertising are people that live in the diaspora, people who wants to come back home to build homes and things to that effect, right? So how there are platforms, for example, that are reaching thousands and thousands and thousands of viewers from the diaspora. So when you tell these organizations, do not advertise with certain media houses because they are not dancing to the NNP tune, what are you doing? You are standing in the way of thousands of people getting the message and actually using the Housing Authority to build houses. I mean, these statutory bodies, a lot of them are, as far as I'm concerned, are just white elephants, and they're just being used by the whims and fancies of governments to attract funding and to do a lot of stuff that is not beneficial to the people, right? So when it comes to the media right now in this election cycle, I have a feeling that the majority of the media houses on the ground are being controlled by the NNP. I understand that there is a relationship with in fact, I don't want to get personal and start calling media houses names, but Bobby, can you speak to that, or can you deny that this is a, I mean, had it not been for the strength of social media, it would have been very difficult for the NDC. But thank
Well,
God social media is
Before we
there.
go to Bobby, I want to get Kim's perspective on this because Kim owns a radio station in Carriacou.
well, yes, and I'm glad that you asked me to join in on that day too. But the first thing I just want to just quickly say about the debate is that in the situations where you're going to have a debate, the government or the incumbent wouldn't want that for the simple fact that they find themselves in a defending position all the time. They have not delivered to the people, and the challenge there is that they're going to lose a lot of points because the questions will be asked and it will not be able to answer properly. But talking about media, let me tell you something. With my experience, this incumbent, this government has tried to control me personally in media for the simple fact that they didn't want me. As a matter of fact, they labeled me as anti, right? And because of that now, as Janice just spoke about supporting and things like that, I don't get no support period from the government because there's a black mark in the ministry and all these other places there where my business is concerned. I should not get any support. I'm telling you that because it's been said to me on many times from the same people who work there. But, you know, talking about interviews and talking about them controlling media, on several occasions, because I have a good relationship with the Prime Minister, and I asked him, especially in Carriacou, I said, listen, Doc, we have some questions we want to ask you. We need you in Carriacou. Come and speak to us, you know, and let's give us some answers to our needs and things like that, you know. And on one occasion, he agreed that he was going to come on my program. But lo and behold, I received from the Philomena, the inside the press secretary, a list of questions that they want me to ask. I refused. I said, listen, hold on. I am not going to go along with what you're asking there because I have questions here in Carriacou that we want answered, and not you say, well, that's the way they do it, you know. They give you these questions in advance, and so you could ask the Prime Minister. I said, well, if that's the case, count me out. Case closed, no interview. Then they weren't satisfied with that. They came back.
You were asked to. He was given specific questions to ask the Prime Minister.
Yes, of course. I'm telling you, this is a fact. Listen to me. I refused. So when I refused, they really wanted me they really wanted to get in the media. They really want to get the Prime Minister because he has been out of Carriacou for the longest while. So the second proposal that came to me, okay, we're going to allow you to ask some questions, you know, but his time is going to be limited. He'll be only able to be on the program for 20 minutes. I say if it's 20 minutes, he's going to take 15 minutes with his introduction, 5 minutes from me, out. I gone again. I'm telling you, they try to control you. And that's the bottom line. Now, listen what happened. Let me tell you what happened. So we did a joint with another media house, which is theirs, and they have control over that one. Now, when it was their turn, they said to me, well, I could ask my own questions. When it was their turn, the other media house to ask questions, I could have asked the questions from him because I was given the questions already. So he was given it. I could have read it out. He could have just stopped the first one he's going to ask, and I would continue. That's the way they try to operate. And then because of that now, I've been labeled as a supporter of the NDC, and I don't mind being labeled in that way. And I don't get no work from them, no jobs. They're scared of me with interviews. And let me go further. They made an attempt to avoid me from teaming up with Kem Jones. Yes, the attempt was made, and I still listen. I'm not a walkover. What I'm telling you is from my experience. I don't want to go too much into more details because other people want to get on the get their voice in there. But this, I could tell you what I'm saying there now has a lot more to it. Thank you.
I've heard a lot about press freedom and the inability for media organization to do their jobs adequately. But we have on file, Bobby, where Kim is saying that that happened specifically to him. Have you heard about the other instances? And what's your take on press freedom is an attack where the media can't even ask the question that they want to ask of the prime minister or the leaders?
Well, this is what I will say to you, Junior, right? These are the kind of things that I say. Sometimes you have to watch the situation and say, okay, for example, if I owned a radio station and I asked the prime minister to do an interview on a radio station, and then I was informed by his press secretary that I would only be able to ask him questions that I have provided, I would assume that would have come in the form of an email, that would have come in the form of some kind of conversation, be it WhatsApp message, be something, right? Because only value it has is there. Now, why have I sat quiet on this? Why have I not felt the need? Because I just heard him express that he doesn't care. Yeah, he stands on his own strength. But then bring it forward. Let the people see. If there's something like that happening, let the people see it. And let these things, because that's how we stop it. When we just talk, and everybody just goes and say, but this is what this one they hear. This is what they want they hear. And this is what, for example, I have sat on statutory bodies. And I can tell you, on those same bodies that I have sat on, they have people who have very different feelings about government, and you would think that everybody who gets onto that board is pro-government, pro-the ruling party, right? And I could tell you that some of the things expressed by Janice, I would agree on. That some of these people that get onto these bodies, I mean, I have a real problem with, because they get on there and they do absolutely nothing. It's like they go there to collect the stipend. But would I say that is because it's they are NNPites? Would I say that is because they how to put it, unprofessional? Which one would I really say? Right? And what I would say is, a lot of the times people are put onto bodies with the expectation that what the people believe and their strength, and when they get on there, they don't have it, because they have other people have supported them and give them an image of what they have, what they are capable of doing, and they really can't. Right? So, I mean, I am not going to blame the top when you have people inside who get on all these bodies. When you look at government, for instance, a lot of the things, you talk to anybody, on whichever side they sat on, and you talk to them and ask them why it is that things that should take 1 day, 2 days, maybe a week, why do they take months to get done? And a lot of time it's the people inside the structure, the actual bureaucracy that causes the status. It's not the man at the top. Yeah, it's not the man at the top.
If it is happening, would you agree with me that it shouldn't happen? The press should be
100%.
Right.
Hello, Ken.
But Junior,
hello.
Be honest. Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't? I remember, for example, when I was doing a radio program, let me give you one example. I was on a radio program one time, when as a matter of fact, he was the PRO at the time of the NEC, called the radio program, and accused me of lying. And then he hung up the phone. Right? And then I obviously talked and I said, well, okay, if you're saying I lie, right? And you hung up the phone, it's because you don't want to hear the truth. But if you call back, I will ask you a question. Right. And when you finish asking you a question, you'll have a chance to respond. And if you have a chance to respond, and you can tell me. And he talked. And then I gave him the information that I had. And he started to stumble. He couldn't answer it. And then he said, well, if that happened, it's somebody else that did that and I didn't know about that. I said, would you like to hear the fax number? This is the fax number here. This fax number is associated with a particular office. You can go and check that for yourself. When you finish checking it, call me back. But until then, you have come on a radio program, you have accused me of lying when I am the one with the information, and you don't have the information. Right. And I'm saying to you, we see this a lot here. If people call and say, for instance, that the media, this one don't like them, bring the proof. Bring it out there and let the people say, don't come to me and say the Prime Minister trying to shut down all media. The Prime Minister was trying to shut down all. The Prime Minister was trying to shut down Sharia. The Prime Minister, you can keep going on and on and on. Right. But bring it forward, bring your proof forward, put it on the table, and then what surprises me, if that was the case, why are you going back? Why are you going back? Why are you taking up the job? I don't understand. You don't have to stand for something or stand for nothing, right? And I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have my differences. I have said it very clear, and I've made my points very clear at why I have chosen myself to not be associated with any particular party, but I know I'm confident of who I will vote for come on Thursday. Right. I'm very confident, and I think that is and I can say clearly so everybody understands. My decision came down very simple.
Right.
With these turbulent times outside there, with what we are facing outside, would I go for experience or inexperience? Right. And that's what it comes down to, period.
Let me just say that we have to wrap at exactly 8 o'clock. There is a special program that's coming at that time. We have to wrap at that time. So we're going to go around in this last couple of minutes and get some final takes on it. Janice, we'll start with you.
Okay, so I just wanted to I made the point about board members and whatever. Board members are generally placed into organizations because they are sympathizers of the current administration. Generally, that's what happens. And basically, these board members answers to the prime minister's office, whichever government is in office, right? So when the prime minister or someone at his office picks up the phones and call the chairman of the board and say, this is what I want done. I want you to not send ads to here or there, or don't support this person. This person does not work in my interest as a media person. This is what happens. Okay, so let's not sugarcoat that. In terms of Bobby asked a question about people coming out and speaking and stuff like that. There has been a lot of talk about victimization. This is a small nation, right? A lot of people do not have the means to sustain themselves if they make enemy of the government. And so there are times when people would want to stand up for themselves and speak out, but the fear of losing the income that they used to support their family, it is real. At the beginning of this campaign, talking to people on the ground, and I mean, thank God I do not depend on this current administration for my livelihood. But if I did, would I be as vocal as I am today? I doubt that is the case. So I'm saying there's a lot of people who would like to speak out. There's a lot of people, whether they're in the police force, whether they are in the teaching fraternity, whether they are nurses and doctors, whether they even work in the government ministries. They would love to have a voice. And in fact, I was so heartened when I saw the wife of this police officer, Mr. Beast. We know him in the realm of Calypso. And she came out and she stood up, and you know what courage it took? I know a lot of police wives myself. I happen to know them myself. And the stories I hear, it's traumatizing to even listen. And the fact that she came out and she spoke so passionately about what she has experienced as the wife of a police, and seeing her husband, suffer as well. I am saying that it is good that people are seeing a light at the end of the tunnel. People are becoming emboldened. People are beginning to see that this wind of change is moving in a direction where they could actually relieve and release themselves with all of the pain and the suffering that they've been having for the last how many years. So in terms of why I choose to support the NDC, I see the NDC as the way forward. I see a group of experienced people, as came out of the mouth of Dr. Mitchell. I see people who have been successful in their previous endeavors. I believe they have the capacity to learn on their feet. I know we have good permanent secretary, and I don't want to get into the story of what was done to Ms. Gemma Bain Thomas. That's another story for another day. But I know that the permanent secretaries, they will do their job. It's Grenada first. And I really look forward to the next NDC administration. And Bobby, I like the fact that you said, regardless of the outcome, that you are there to stand behind the next administration, regardless, and that we should all come together as one Grenada, one love. You talked about hate earlier. I guarantee you there is no hate.
Yes. Okay. Again, guys, we have 6 minutes, guys. We have 6 minutes, so we can't filibuster the time. So I want to get to Kim's closing, and I want to get to Bobby's closing, but we have to finish exactly in 6 minutes. Kim, let me get your closing remarks, and then we'll get to Bobby's. Kim. Okay, Kim, we're not hearing you, Kim. Your audio is gone. Yeah, we're still not hearing you. Yeah, we still not hearing. Okay, Kim,
Good.
sort it out. Bobby, go right ahead. We'll come back to Kim.
Right. I just want to say, I love when we have a conversation where we could use examples. I remember, for example, Roy Titus and his many situations with the government, on the NMP, and then NDC came in office, and guess what happened? Let's look back at history. History is a very good teacher. And then Roy came and NMP got back into office, and Roy came and worked with the NMP, right? He got back to the NMP, worked within the what do you call it, the GIS, right? We have the examples that we could look at. We could go across the board and find examples. And Janice, I'm not sure if you actually sat on any statutory body. I don't know, so I'm not questioning it. But what I would say to you, sometimes government doesn't have to put a person who is a supporter of their party into a position. They can give the position. A smart government also gives positions to people who belong to other parties to try and gain their support, right? You can have this happen as well. And I can tell you, I have sat on boards and I've seen that, right? And I can tell you that sitting on those boards, I also see that the people who are on the board vote. And there's never been, not one single time in all the years I sat on those boards, I've never seen a single time that we got a directive passed on by the Prime Minister through the CEO that we have to go this way or that way on any decision. So when you speak it, I haven't seen it and I cannot speak to that. If you have sat down on a statutory body and that has happened, fair enough, but I haven't seen it. And I can tell you point blank that this is what happens again. We love the melee talk. We love to say this one did that and this is what happened. I'm saying if we started to deal with cold, hard facts, here's the email, here's the information where the person sent it to the media to Kim.
We have to wrap up.
All right. Anyway, again, all of y'all, vote your conscience and come Thursday.
Yeah.
Let's go there, and whatever happens at the end, again, I repeat, right? Let's put Grenada first at the end and support whoever wins, please.
Right. Okay. All right. That's what it is, guys. It's Grenada first. We are all Grenadians at the end of the day. We're gonna wrap, guys, because thank you guys for watching. But I just want a quick one word. Next election, Janice, what's your prediction? What's your prediction?
Clean sweep, NDC.
NDC. All right, Bobby, you quickly. What's your prediction?
I would say to you right now, I'm leaning 10-5 to the NNP.
10-5 NNP. All right. We're going to be monitoring the election. And don't forget, guys, we are going to be bringing you live team coverage of election 2022. Election night in Grenada. It will be an exclusive broadcast. We have field reporters all over Grenada bringing the broadcast. Of course, we're going to have a team of analysts right here inside studio bringing the broadcast live. And as the numbers come in, you'll be able to see it on screen in 3D digital format. We thank you guys for watching. Sorry for the rush, but we have to wrap up. We have to go. We have a program coming up at 8 o'clock. Thanks again for watching, and thanks for being a part of our program. Join us again tomorrow for more Right Along Live, where everyone have a story to tell. Good night.
Chicks Export Limited, Toronto, Canada, shipping barrels and other cargo to Grenada in 3 weeks, including custom clearing and home delivery to anywhere in Grenada. They source, purchase, and ship new and used anything. Call or WhatsApp Eric, aka Greens, on 416-569-9755. That's 416.
Williams Funeral Service serve you with dignity and compassion as you mourn. Every day, we embark on the journey of life, and one day, the journey will end. It's on that day that you can entrust the celebration of life of your loved ones to David Williams Funeral Service. Call 718-291-3823.
It's hard to imagine this is how 2020 started. But across the world, dozens were falling ill with a mysterious virus that would ultimately change life as we know it. Chinese health authorities are still working to identify the
virus. The COVID-19 pandemic pandemic is now casting doubt over the 2021
As soon as he gets up, I can. 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 I'm tired, see home and need us.
Why you talking the job must pay? All you understand, job must play.
Watch how the party turn up tonight. Because we out and bad and the people better we causing trouble. Just watch how we causing.
My name is Junior George, founder and host of Ride Along Live, and I'm inviting you to become a paid subscriber to this platform. With your support of just $4.99 per month, you could do so much to help this platform grow and to help us help you and others around the world. We encourage you to click that link and become a supporter today. Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Well, it's on Ride Along, so it's happening here.
Came over here. What does it mean? You know, I grew up in what I guess we call a typical family.
We break all the stories, and that's just a fact. And that's why everyone has a story to tell.
Ride Along Live, I mean, yeah, it's the real deal.